Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from AnthonyMorganti.com, and this is episode 175 of Photo Critiques. And in this episode, I'm pleased to critique the work of Magdy Khattab. Hope I pronounced that right, and if I didn't, I apologize. Magdy sent me in some nice shots. This first one, again, I didn't have time to enlarge these. I apologize. But hopefully you could see it on the video okay. In this case here, it's a nice shot though. It's an existing light shot of this man. I like the technique and the process. It does look like you cropped it again, or I say again because the previous critique it looked like the photographer cropped a lot of shots, and it looks like in this image it was cropped. Try to get these shots in camera. You don't want to rely on cropping afterwards. So I know sometimes it's hard because you might not have the right lenses to get in and do these types of shots, and you will have to crop it later. But if you can, try to get it in camera as much as possible. Now I don't know what lens was used on this because it's not in the metadata, so I'm not sure anything about the equipment here, but it is a very nice shot. It's a nice shot too. It's very bright, and typically we don't want stuff that's super bright, especially towards the outside of the frame. And as you can see, if I go over this this triangle right here, everything that's in red is totally wiped out white. That means there's no detail in there, and usually we don't want that. I think it's kind of works here. It's kind of a neat art shot. It's kind of a nice effect in this shot. So these are guidelines, not necessarily rules. We should have never called these things photography rules. They should be guidelines. And sometimes you could go outside the guidelines, and it works in this shot. It's very well done. It's a cool shot. I mean, just this kind of unusual little, like, I don't know, like, knickknack. Pretty cool. It's a little, now this one is a little bright, and I mean, we could come in and we could turn exposure down a little bit, and it might help the colors, but I don't think you really have to do that. I think you could keep the same flavor that you're going for here, but I would just definitely add a dark vignette. And if you add this vignette, it helps draw everyone's attention towards the knickknack. So there's before, there's after, before, after. So I would definitely consider using a vignette. It's a nice shot considering the light was pretty bad. I mean, this is really harsh light coming in from the flowers, and they're coming in from the back here. But the rest of the composition's pretty interesting. So, it's just kind of got this odd, what are flowers doing on this ledge and this, way up high. So it's kind of interesting shot. Again, if you could get these things with different light, I think it would help a lot of the shots. Two, I'd consider using a fill flash. It would help, give a little more detail into here of the flowers, and you'd be surprised how fill flashes could really help even in a bright, bright day like this. And this one here, we do have some camera information. It was 1/640th of a second at f at 2.5 ISO 100. So using that pretty wide open aperture, it really blurred out the background to make a nice artistic effect. This is when you're teaching someone photography, this is a kind of a nice effect to get to do, and it's relatively easy. You just have some lights in the back, usually 10 feet, 20 feet behind this, and they're just little like Christmas lights, something really small, and you arrange them in a way so that they're going straight down, and then you put a bottle or a jar or something under it, and then you 50 millimeter lens you could use. Normally we use something more like 100 millimeters, and we focus on the jar or the bottle, and it will send the background, now with a wide open aperture, it will send the background totally out of focus, and it makes the little tiny lights these big blobs, and it's a cool effect. It kind of looks like it's falling into the jar, and Magdy did a great job here. This shot here, I like the exposure, but I don't like this tree or bush, whatever it is, right here. We have to really work this scene. It's got a really unusually colored sky. I don't know if you did that in post, or if this is just a really, odd colored sky. But anyways, I definitely work the scene, and I try to eliminate this. This is a fairly interesting building, and I'd like to see you get it. It's part of a building, I should say. But I'd like to see you try to get it without this bush in here, first of all. Second of all, I'd like you to use a smaller f-stop. Now that would entail that you'd have to turn your ISO way up, so you'd get more noise in the shot. But if you have a tripod, use a tripod and bring your shutter speed way down. But if your f-stop was more like f8, because you could see where it's a little blurry, you know, at the furthest points. So you'd really want this really crisp. So more like f8 will give you a really crisp shot, in focus shot, enough depth of field to get it the way you really need to portray it. And then you know, you're going to have to do one or two things. You're going to have to use a slower shutter speed or use a faster ISO. So if you use a faster ISO, you will introduce some noise, but that might be okay. It might look okay like that. Preferably, I would like to see you bring the ISO down too, and then bring the shutter speed down, but use a tripod, and I think that would be the winning shot. It's a really nice shot, very nice exposure. I love the composition, and the focus is perfect. See, focus perfectly on the cat's eyes. That's what you want. We did cut off a little bit of the cat's whiskers, and whenever we're photographing, unless we're doing a headshot, when we're photographing animals, we want to get the entire animal in the shot. We rarely will want to cut off anything, even just a little bit of the whiskers. We want to get them all the way in. So I don't know if this is a crop yet. It looks like you might have cropped this, or you could have exported it at a smaller size. But it looks like a crop, just looking at the dimensions. I'd give a little more room over on this side, and in this side even. He's pretty close over to this edge. So give a little more room, you know, and I think it would be really a winning shot if you just give it a little more room. Get all the whiskers in, especially. This shot I like too. Now this one's a little more overexposed. There's nothing blown out, but it's just very bright over here. Definitely had probably a window over here with the light source coming in this way, and you could see the cat's eyes are perfect. This is a great focus. Very well done, Magdy. This one too, you might help because it's so bright. Just a little vignette might help a little bit on that. Just kind of burns the edges a little bit and brings that down, that brightness down. See what I'm talking about? I think that helps a lot. This interesting shot. Now let's see if you have the camera info here. Yeah, this is a 5.6 again. So on this too, I would use a smaller aperture, more like f11. That would give you a lot more detail. It was kind of a lousy day, it looks like. So it was very overcast. It looks like it's foggy or smoggy, and so we're losing a lot, you know, down here. I liked what you were going for here, but you know, because of the weather conditions and that, I just don't know, you know, how attractive it is. Let's put it that way. So again, you know, work the scene. It's a tough scene to photograph, though, given the conditions. I don't think even a vignette helps on this one. It's a kind of a cool shot. We often do this, you know, driving in your car, and you get, or you're at your house and you have the rain droplets on your window, and you focus on the rain, and everything else behind it's blurry. Or sometimes you could do it the other way around. You could focus on what's beyond, out in the scene, and let the raindrops go blurry. You could try it both ways. Typically, though, we really want a really compelling scene outside of here, and this is so blurry, it's really hard to see what we're dealing with, and I don't have any camera information here, so I don't know what f-stop was used or anything like that. So what I would suggest is, for anyone who's doing these types of shots, take a few. First of all, drive your car. If you're in a car, you can't move your house, obviously, but drive your car and bring it to somewhere where there's really something compelling back here. Maybe a waterfront with a ship, or, you know, something, you know, compelling in the background. Then do some bracketed shots. Shoot wide open, focusing on the raindrops. So if your lens is f of 4, you know, shoot at f of 4 and focus on the background, or on the raindrops, I'm sorry, and then do another one at 5.6, another one at 8, and then try one at 22. Just see, you know, or not 22, I wouldn't go that high. Let's say, you know, 13, just to see what it looks like. Then I would flip the focus around and I would focus on the background, and I do the same type of bracketing, like f of 4, 5.6, 8, 13, something like that. So you're taking about 8 to 10 shots, and try it different ways. And then when you bring them back and put them in your photo editing software, which I use Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw, and once you do that, you can decide which one you like the best. And but in this shot here, the execution is fine. I just think we need something more interesting to look at back here, and it's a little bit too blurry, and we can't even see what it is actually. I think that's the last one. Yep, that's it. Magdy, thank you very much for sharing your work with us. I really do appreciate it. Thank you everyone who watches all my videos. And if you guys have time, go over to my website, anthonymorganti.com. I have all kinds of photography related stuff over there. And if you can, go over to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My YouTube handle, or my YouTube username, is Anthony Morganti. That's it for now. I'll talk to you guys soon.